This show is PG-13, so you might hear a naughty word or two. Welcome to our coverage of the Paris Olympic Games. Simone Biles is the first woman to win 2 Olympic all-around titles since Kozłowska in 1968. The first woman to win non-consecutive all-around titles. The second oldest woman to be an all-around champ since 1952. Simone Biles is undefeated for 11 years. Today is August 1st, and we are coming to you live from Paris. Welcome to the #1 gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jessica, and here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation. Welcome to all of our new listeners from around the world. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're a Club Gym member, switch to your members only feed so you can hear the bonus content, which is like another 30 minutes of chit chat and in-depth things and behind the scenes stories. If you missed it from last night, our men's episodes that we're doing here, just so you know, we still talk about women and we still talk about all the things. So just, I want you to know, because I see when
you're skipping the men's all-around episode because you're like, they didn't even talk about Simone. Jessica's like, we also talked about Simone.
We also talked about Simone, just so you know. Like, I see, even when we use men in the picture, we get less listeners. And I'm like, just so you know. So last night we talked about the men's all-around. We did a recap men's all-around, and we talked about the Simone clapback at Skinner, and we did a brief history of the beef between Skinner and the world. And so that was all in yesterday's episode, men's all-around. So if you want to listen to that or any of the other men's episodes, that's also in there. Tomorrow's our live show, 9 p.m. Paris time, noon Pacific, with special guests talking about the Olympics. Part of the proceeds will go to a shelter helping Ukrainian cats suffering in the war, and also to Henrietta Onodi, as in the Onodi's Medical Fund. Tickets are on sale now at gymcastic.com. And let's get into it.
And away we go. Simone Biles won the Olympic all-around title. Rebecca Andrade, silver. Suni Lee, bronze. Exactly the order from qualification. So there was no drama at all today. And it was fine and it was normal.
Totally fine. Totally fine.
So where do you want to start? Simone's bars?
Oh, Simone's
or
bars.
Or just from the beginning? Or start from the very beginning?
Let's start at the very beginning. From the beginning where I was like, oh, everyone else is 2 points behind Andrade and Simone, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone is behind Andrade and Simone. But we talked about Simone had a large lead on Andrade in qualification. Team final was really close, but Simone had done the chung in the team final and not the Yurchenko double pike, and that makes a big difference. So we kind of concluded our strategy for Simone based on our conversation yesterday was that she needed to do the Yurchenko double pike today. Fortunately, she agreed with us, and that's definitely how it happened. Simone does the Yurchenko double pike. It's a solid one, large bounce back, and then a step to meet the bounce back, but, comfortably landed, hit vault. So she accrued that advantage, the vault advantage, that otherwise if they're both doing a chung, she probably doesn't have, because Andrade's chung is a little bit better than Simone's. So and she has a go
before
ahead.
We go into that, when they walked in, I started getting nervous because I was like, she has to do the double pike. Like, she knows Andrade can totally beat her, so she has to do it. But she was limping when she walked in. I felt like she was limping when
you were texting me about that. I didn't see that on the feed, but I'll defer.
But then she walked on the podium, no sign of it. Absolutely, totally fine. So I was like, all right, she's good. We're not going to worry about it. She's fine.
It's what you've said about gymnasts. You don't waste your feet on stupid things like walking from place to place if you're not even on a competition podium.
Yeah, I always remember that. I was talking about 2015 when Allie Raisman couldn't walk into the arena. And I was like, oh my God, how are they going to replace her? You can't use an alternate. And then she was fine. So, sometimes you're just also taped so much that, your foot can't flex all the way. So then Andrade does her vault. Chung.
Beautiful. Chung.
Where does it compare to the greatest chung of all time that she did earlier? Was it at Pan Am Games where she did that chung?
Well, she didn't stick this one. It's not quite as strong, but there were very few deductions in this vault.
I mean, all right. It was.
What do you mean? She did not stick this vault.
I would put
she piked it down a little bit at the end. She
piked
had some direction. That's all fine.
It's the best one she's done, just below the greatest of all time one that she did in her pantheon of chungs.
I would say this is her normal. Like, it's a beautiful, gorgeous chung, and this is what we expected, what she does like every time. So it's just right there with all of them. It's great. This is her typical.
I would say being in the arena, it was more special. You would have gotten more butterflies in your eyes if you saw it live and in person. That's what I'm saying.
So anyway, Simone Biles has a lead on Andrade by 2/3 of a point after vault, thanks to the difficulty of Hiryuchenko double pike. Andrade was a little bit up on execution, which was correct. And then we go to bars, and Simone's like, I don't want to make this too boring. I don't want to make it too obvious because I already have a lead. So I'm going to do a very weird bars routine. I have never seen Simone make that mistake on her pack before. Ever.
That's what she said in the press conference. She was like,
did?
I don't know what happened. I don't do that. Like, she's like, I know, like, I'm not the greatest at bars, but I can swing bars. This is literally what she said. She was like, I can do bars, you guys. I don't know what happened. So, yeah.
I've never seen her do that before, but she did her pack. Not where she wanted to be in the air. Had to tuck it. Did a very good job of not making contact with the mat, which could have been very significant. Ultimately, she had a large margin at the end, but she avoided a 0.3 she tucked, did not have the 0.3 to brush the mat. Then she had to do an extra kip cast handstand and then get back on track, cast a handstand, and resume her normal routine. And actually, the end of her routine, her toe fold or her double tuck dismount was the best she's done at the Olympics. Maybe she gained a little bit back there because the error was, equivalent of a fall.
Yeah.
Between the tucking and the extra cast, I'm like, that's a fall.
Yeah, and then like a rhythm deduction, and so it's the same as a fall, basically what she did. She just like, luckily she's such exactly the right height for Simone that she can just bend her knees and not touch the mat. My God.
If she were even 4'10", it's over. It's
over. She would have hit the ground, just stopped. But she held on to it.
So her score of 13,733 was not a point lower than what she's been getting. So I think she made some crucial tenths back up with that dismount because that was so good.
Yep. And then Andrade went on bars and she was like, would you like to see the most amplitude that's ever been done on anything on bars? You're welcome. Here I am. Absolutely beautiful. And then I was like, oh, now we're going to see the angriest beam routine we've ever seen from Simone ever.
This was a significant beam routine, I think, in Simone's career, and will go down as one of her iconic routines because her edge was gone. She had given the margin back, and we were back to team final where she only had, a couple tenths on Andrade. She had to hit this routine, which doesn't actually end up happening all that often for Simone in major all-around competitions where she absolutely has to hit the routine. She usually has enough margin where you're like, if she fell, it'd probably be okay. But she had to hit a very strong beam routine in that moment, and she did. The only error, once again, that damn side aerial. It's the new that damn Barani. She had a wobble on it. It was not as big as in the team final, but it was like, Simone. She's like, what is up with the skill?
A mere mortal would have fallen on probably many of her wolf turns here, by the way, but somehow she operates best when off balance. And then a mere mortal would have fallen on that aerial. But she was like, no, absolutely not. I also appreciate here that she has just basically decided, I'm not going to try that connection right out of my switch leap mount. Mm-hmm. She just does her backup is now her front up. That she does in that connection. She just
maybe beam final. Go for it in beam final.
I mean, if she wants to she said she knew after bars, she was like, okay, I just need to center myself. I need to do it because she knew her margin was lost. She knew she was very aware of what was happening and Andrade pushing her, and she knew she had to do it. So also Cecile was extremely happy after that beam routine, and I was like, oh yeah,
there's no one in the world who was more relieved than Cecile Landy when Simone hit that beam.
Cecile was like, oh my God. So then Andrade goes on beam.
Mm-hmm. A couple of wobbles, but it's still going to be one of the highest execution scores, which is what we've seen from Andrade at these Olympics. She can have some mistakes, which then take her execution score back down into the very small range that every single person receives for every single routine, which is still an issue, but a great beam routine. Enough so that Simone had then moved into first after 3 rotations. By a small margin, but she was in first. And then you knew it was in her control because she's always going to have the potential and most likely the highest score on floor, which is what she did today. It was her best floor of the Olympics so far, I think pretty clearly, because she didn't go out of bounds or anything.
Before her floor, though, I have to say, like, from the time basically she got off bars to right before her floor routine, she went into like zombie robot energy saver mode and was just like no response to anything. Like, she'd high five someone, then just back into like powered down completely, waited right until she needed to actually do her routine to save all of her energy, because she knew she could not make those mistakes. She couldn't go out of bounds. She couldn't have those little things that she's had all season. She could not afford them. And this is what's amazing about her.
At least I think she was telling herself that she could have afforded them. She won by more than a point in the end. She just needed to not fall. But yeah,
she was, yes, but she had, the pressure was on her, and she knew the pressure was on her. And that's what is amazing about her, is like her gymnastics range is so good that when she needed to be perfect as possible, she could do it in the moment. And she knew it, because after that routine, she was like, whew, and then she had to like hold on to the podium for a second and like get her breath back. And I was like, man, she was stressed out. And she said that in the press conference. Yeah, man, I was stressed like this. I've never had someone so close to me. And I think that's such a huge kudos to Andrade. So Andrade,
since Rio.
Yeah.
I mean, there were times with like Yordake in Simone's first quad, but yeah, like since Rio, no one's been this close.
Yeah. Could you see after and Andrade had an out of bounds on floor, right? She had
she was like a Tokyo tribute. I got to go out of bounds on floor in the all-around final. This is what you have to do.
And did she change her first pass or second pass? She did her full twisting double layout second pass.
And she did her front through to full twisting double back.
Yeah.
It's her first pass.
Did you see? Did they show it on the feed where she presented to the audience and took a bow after floor?
They may have.
Andrade, she understands the show.
Yeah.
The other favorite thing from this was I don't know if you could see it because all the cameras were on Simone trying to like hold onto the podium and like get her breath back. But Suni and Andrade got up on the podium right behind the speaker on floor, and we're just like sitting like crisscross applesauce, like having their own little exciting moment together and just like chit-chatting and like sparkling at each other. And it was so adorable. I just loved it. I was like, oh, I hope someone turn around and get a picture of this. Maybe one of the 6 women photographers that are on the floor got it, for crying out loud. Yes, I did count.
They were like, yes, all the cameras are on Simone, so we can have like a real conversation.
Also, did you see Andrade taking the Brazilian flag over to but the beam podium and just spinning and spinning and spinning around with it? It was so cute.
So 2 repeat medalists from Tokyo and Simone. Longevity.
Also, Suni making the podium, the reigning Olympic champion making the podium again in the next Olympics. Huge. And it was only 3 years later. This is another thing, not 4. Everyone else could have taken a whole year off and done whatever, had babies.
That it was only 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's an important.
She was like, "Can I do this for another year? Am I gonna hang for another year?" Yeah. Do we want to talk about the bronze medal?
Yes.
Because I will say, first impression after watching it, I was like, I'm gonna whisper because we're in America and the CIA might be listening. I was like, this should have been D'Amato.
I honestly thought Suni wasn't in it. I thought D'Amato had it.
I mean, not going to floor. I do think Suni's floor was stronger than D'Amato, so if you had that small of a margin heading to floor, Suni should have outscored D'Amato there. I think the controversy is beam. I watched all of their routines again before we recorded while Jessica was in the press conference, because this is what we do. Jessica gets the news from the people, and I rewatch the routines. I feel better about the Suni bronze on second rewatch, even though she had a lot of wobbles on beam and her execution score could have been lower. It was still 4.33 behind D'Amato. And they were kind of maybe charitable with D'Amato on her D score as well with her combinations. So I was like, I'm more okay with this on second watch than on initial impression, is what I'll say right now with the bronze.
And I mean, Suni also had the edge with her bar score, not by much, but
no, I mean, their bar scores were basically like they could have tied on bars. That was like
they were very close.
D'Amato was stronger on vault. They both had similar bounces back. I think D'Amato completes her twist better. Suni lands a little staggered, but then D'Amato has a straddle on her block that Suni doesn't have. So, they ended up pretty close there. So I think beam is the controversy. Certainly, like, Italian gymnastics Twitter can dine out on this for the next 4 years. You have room to, the arguments you can make, you've got them. You have room for them. But I do feel better about Suni as a bronze medalist after second watch.
What was the neutral deduction that Alice got on beam? Did she fall off the podium at the mat at the end? She has a penalty.
Alicia didn't get a neutral deduction on beam.
She
floor. Got out of bounds on the floor.
Out of bounds on floor. Sorry, floor.
Yeah, she went out of bounds on her first pass on floor.
Oh, that out of bounds. I mean, you can point to many, many things. It's not just that, but they're only a tenth. Oh, less than a tenth.
Yeah, a little more than a tenth apart. So yeah, it's like an out of bounds, a step here. It is very close, and it should have been very close.
Oof. You guys, I just like going into the last rotation. I just going back to Andrade and Simone again. There was only basically just over a tenth separating Andrade and Simone going into the last rotation.
Going into floor, yeah.
And I was like, man, Simone better not go out of bounds or it's over. She's not going to do it. And then she's going to have to come back to LA. But she sounded very much at the press conference like, she was like, I am so, like, she's like, I'm going to leave it to Andrade from here because she's stressing me out and I've never been this stressed out. And Suni was also like, man, we were both freaking out when they walked in, and she was like, I've never seen you like that before. And she was like, I know, because Andrade's so good. So they were basically all complimenting each other with the amount of stress they were giving each other. And I love that.
There. Yeah, I think, it's time for Andrade to win some all-around gold medals. Like, I'm ready.
I ran into Paul Zert, which I was worried the meet hadn't actually started. It wasn't real Olympics because Paul Zert, the publisher of International Gymnast Magazine, who has been an Olympic coach and, basically a family member of Nadia. I ran into him and he was like, I was like, do you think now, do you think she'll come back? We were like debating if Simone is going to come back. The meet's not over yet. We're already like, is she going to come back and just do vault? And he was like, we'll have to see how the code is interpreted, and then we'll see if she, like, what they do. And I think that's a very good point because, the code over the years has a habit of figuring out what people are doing to win and then chopping all that up and throwing it in the trash. So
I don't think there are enough code changes in the next quad to influence Simone's scoring should she decide to return. She would remain
interpreted. Dominant. Not the code as written, what the STS is going to say, which is the system that anyone can go on it. The STS, you can register, and then you get all the examples when it's just like, here's what's the example they use for all the Americans, the switch fulls. No credit. Or is it rings?
What's the example they use for all the Americans? Posture. Body posture artistry deduction. Wrong. Your hip, your chest, your ribs are in the wrong place. Move them. Throw them away.
I just want to take a moment here to talk about the grown-ass women that are on that podium with Simone 27.
Okay, yeah.
27. These are all women in their 20s winning medals, winning again. These are not children. These are not teenagers. They are not just like making a team at this age. They're not just making Olympics. They are winning in their 20s. And that is... And
Ellie Black got sixth.
Ellie Black got sixth. She's going to be... Is she 28? Going to be 29?
Ellie Black doesn't have an age.
That's true.
I would have to look it up. She's
Flavia,
Ellie Black years old.
Flavia's here from Brazil. Icon, 24. The French are never going to let her leave. They're obsessed with her. She's never allowed to leave. Felipe Martins from Portugal, 28.
Did you see her try to go for the Yurchenko double full, by the way? I know. She crashed it, but I was also like, respect,
because pusillanimouses will never be heroes, you guys. If you learn nothing from GymCastic, learn that. And also Oyashan from China is 20. She's amazing. Like, it's Ellie. Yeah, Ellie Black is going to be 29 this year, you guys. So in 2 months.
So I'm like, Kaylee Nemour, wait for it. No need to burn yourself out at 16. You're going to soar.
This is the thing. I My fear, Kayla Nemour is so amazing and she's such an incredible gymnast. I am very worried that she does not come from a coaching club that believes in women staying in the sport. I think she comes from a club of one and done. So I hope to be
How
proven
dare
wrong.
you?
I hope everyone
How
proves me
dare
wrong. I
you
hope
say
that's
that
not the
about
case.
2025 world all-around champion Kayla Nemour?
I hope that she sticks around. I mean, I think she'll definitely
Yeah.
stick around for Worlds because she's just going to be like, hello, I'm here. Boop, put the medal around my neck.
Are we
Speaking of
worried
which,
about Chu Chi-Yun and his ability to challenge Kayla Nemour in the bars final based on the last two bars routines? Because today she hit the layout Jaeger and then fell right after that.
yes.
But maybe she's just lulling everyone into a false sense of security, Chinese men style, and being like, that wasn't the real one. Bars final is the real one.
I'm hoping. This is what I'm so hoping because she can totally do it. But, you know,
because it's the battle is what's exciting. Because what we've seen on bars so far at these Olympics, if that continues in the bars final, Nemour is going to win by more than half a point, and it's just going to be like, I mean, great job, you connect everything, but it's not like as exciting. I want it to be exciting.
She got her 7-2D.
Her 7-2. Yeah, she got the
7-2. You guys,
7-2.
a 7. Yes. Like
She was able to have that big arch and pull it back and keep going and still get basically the same score she did in qualification because she got her 7-2.
Yep. 15-5-3-3 on bars. Like she just blew everybody away. It's just ridiculous.
And she also, a rare bird, had an inquiry successfully accepted and had her beam score raised by 0.2.
I know. I was like, wait. They accepted?
So they're here for you. They're here for you. That's the biggest show of support you can get, is having your inquiry accepted.
It absolutely is. I don't think we said enough about Suni. Can we just celebrate Suni for a little longer?
Sure.
She thought she couldn't do gymnastics ever again a year ago. That was just a year ago. That wasn't this year.
I feel like that was 2 months ago. She was like, I'm not doing this.
And she not only came back, she's in remission and she won a medal. I am just like blown away. And the fact that earlier in the week, with whatever, I'm calling the village poops, going through, and people were just like, I didn't think I could finish a floor.
Oh, you mean how there was the sickness on the U.S. team? Is that what you're trying to describe?
Yes, the
right
U.S.
now?
team sickness.
Okay.
I'm calling it the village poops.
Great.
Yeah. With her being like, I didn't know I was going to do floor, and I'm free. I just feel like, she did so well and showed up here. And this is like why people are the Olympic champions. It's like, you might count them out. It's not just the American team, because the Chinese men were talking about it too, and how they were also sick and weren't able to eat. And they weren't, what was the word they used? Uncomfortable during the competition yesterday. And I was like, oh, there's the village poops going through all the teams. So I just want to
get to the bottom of this.
I just want to say Suni, icon forever. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, who came in? Where are we? We're in the
Paris. The comment, Paris site, like a parasite from Paris. Nailed it.
Oh, that was genius. I love it. 6th, Ellie Black. Freaking killed it today.
With a fall on beam, by the way.
Yes. That's the thing. She fell on her full and knocked her shoe off, and still her beam shoe off, and still came in 6th. That's how amazing she is. Oh, so good. And then
I would like everyone to pull out of the vault final, and then Ellie Black gets an Olympic medal. Even though we're all talking about Simone and we're talking about Andrade and her upgrade and all of that, yada yada yada. I want everyone to withdraw, and then Ellie Black gets an Olympic gold on vault.
I just want to pause for one moment and just tell you guys that we did blow a fuse earlier today, because I don't know if you guys have heard me complain, but it is hot as balls here, and it is so humid. It's basically like Tokyo. That's how bad. I'm waiting for the asphalt to melt like it did in Tokyo. That's how humid and hot it is outside. You just walk outside and you might as well have just taken a shower and stayed like that. So we have a fan on 24/7, and now there's lightning outside. Like when I was walking in from the metro, the sky was just like heat lightning. It's not raining. So if you lose me for a moment, I will come back on my phone. But anyway, don't go anywhere. Don't just in case I will come back. Chichuan, 7th place.
Yes. Good. I mean, with a fall, seventh with also with a fall, like Ellie Black, sixth with a fall, Chu seventh with a fall. Always going to be tough for her to get into the medals with her vault difficulty. So then when she fell on bars, it was kind of that. But she hit a really good beam routine. She also still didn't do the back handspring Arabian, which is of course a tragedy. But you understand it because she wanted to like stay on the apparatus or whatever, like a weirdo. But yeah, I think that's a solid result overall for her. Seventh all around.
Luisa Blanco, Colombia, icon for the hat. Did you see the hat? Her
I
marching,
did see the hat.
she did a whole hat choreography. Then her
Correct.
her physio was wearing the hat throughout the competition. She did have a fall on bars, but like her shoulders stayed on her body, and that's really
she made the all around final. That was like, this is a party for me now, and that was exciting. Yeah,
and she's really good. I mean, this is the thing. Like, she deserved to be here. I think also we look at the all around scores and like we were right on with saying like you need a 55 to be in the conversation. Like, if you want to make an Olympic team, you want to be in the conversation, you need a 55. And looking at where people finished, like, yeah, seventh place is a 54, sixth place is a 54. Yeah, so.
Can we talk about Flavia tragic, hilarious fall on floor? Because she got spiethed, even though it's not a spieth floor.
Even though it's a Gym Nova floor. Flavia has the best attitude of anyone. She kicked herself, elbows herself in the head yesterday, or was that yesterday? Team finals.
2 days ago.
2 days ago, team finals, gash on her face, finished the competition. Now there's all this tribute art to her of her as a warrior anime character in ancient China doing her, with her gash band-aid on her head. I'm obsessed with it. And she today was doing so well, was so hyped up. Then she had a fall on beam, and then she goes to floor. The French crowd. She fell on. What did she fall on? She fell on another event. She fell on floor, but she fell on something else too. Oh no, it was just her weird vault situation that she did.
I didn't see her vault, so.
Oh, okay, yeah. She had like a very weird vault, like she landed super short and like jumped forward, and I thought she got hurt, but yeah. So but on floor. So remember the video? If you guys, remember this. Remember the video from Worlds? Was it 2022 where we saw a video in the training hall where basically she under rotates like a double layout and then flies backwards and like puts one leg up to try to catch herself to land, and she just kicked her coach in the nuts so hard and sends him flying.
And that was
basically that's exactly what happened today without kicking anyone in the nuts. So she just
that's why she fell. There has been someone there to kick. Would have been fine.
She just bounced into a giant belly flop out of bounds.
Yeah. And you thought it was going to be like just a bounce back on landing, and then suddenly it was such a bounce back that she's on her stomach.
Yeah, she was like swinging her arms, bounces on her belly, and then she couldn't stop laughing about it. As she finished her routine, was in stitches about herself for like the next 15 minutes. And after vault
comedy.
Yeah, after vault too, I thought that she was hurt, and then she was just cracking herself up. So the Brazilian spirit is strong with the Flavia. We have so much more to talk about, you guys. I have so many behind the scenes things to tell you about, and especially what happened before the meet. I have more updates on my best friend's Chinese TV now that I've been sitting next to, and also what happened, more that happened at the press conference, and also what happened at the media center, which is something that's so French and fantastic. I'm obsessed with it. And that is where Fact Checker has been working. And so I'm going to tell you what happened there today during Women's All Around, by the way. But this is how our Olympic coverage works. So Spencer watches the things at home, rewatches. I'm at the arena. I go to the press conference, talk to the athletes so I can not speculate on things, but ask them personally, specifically about things. Then we come back and record. We record this live for Club Gym Nerd members, and they can interact in the next like half an hour. We'll take lots of questions from them, and then I edit and put up a public version for everyone. So the headlines, all of this is always for everyone, because we are doing a podcast every single day that there's artistic gymnastics competition and podium training here, and so everyone gets that. And then we do this extra behind the scenes because our Club Gym Nerd members are the ones that help us pay the bills. They're the ones that help send us here, and they're the ones that support us all year long, all quad long, so that we can earn our credential to the Olympic Games. And yeah, we really appreciate them. So we do extra. And if you want to become a Club Gym Nerd member at GymCastic.com, you can listen to the behind the scenes stories like the one I want to tell you about the Simone thing that's happening before the meet that I have never seen anywhere else. If you're not a Club Gym Nerd member, we'll see you tomorrow at the live show, Friday, August 2nd, or we'll see you the first day of event finals. Thanks for listening. Okay. So I've never seen this at any Worlds or anything else. Before the meet starts,